The establishment of the FIFA Goal Project and the National Technical Training Center reinforced the importance of investing in permanent assets that outlive individual administration. His tenure also reminded us that meaningful reforms must always be accompanied by consultation, consensus, and effective stakeholder engagement. This brings me to Alhaji Omar Sy, who provided perhaps one of the most significant governance interventions in our football history. During periods of institutional uncertainty, he demonstrated exceptional statesmanship, restoring order through constitutional reforms, financial discipline, and administrative restructuring. His leadership laid the foundations for modern governance, transparency, and democratic participation within the Federation, providing that integrity and institutional reforms are indispensable for sustainable development. Let's visit the exploits of Sidi Kinte, who presided over one of the most memorable era of sporting success. Under his leadership, the Gambian football celebrated remarkable achievements in youth competitions and inspired an entire generation of footballers. However, history also reminds us that sporting excellence cannot be sustained without equally strong governance, financial accountability, and institutional discipline. His tenure remains a powerful lesson that success on the field must always be matched by sound management of the field. The subsequent period of normalization and institutional correction demonstrated how fragile football institutions become when governance systems fail. Yet it also illustrated the resilience of Gambian football and the willingness of FIFA, CAF, and our local stakeholders to restore credibility through reforms, accountability, and constitutional renewal. Now, let's look at the most defining moments of our Gambian football. When Lamin Kababajo assumed office in 2014, he inherited a federation emerging from uncertainty and international setbacks. Through steady leadership, strategic planning, and institutional discipline, he restored confidence within Football House. His administration strengthened financial management, expanded grassroots infrastructure, professionalized football administration, advanced women's football, invested in regional development, and delivered the greatest sporting achievement in our history through successive qualifications for the African Cup of Nations. These achievements transformed Gambian football from an underachieving nation into one that now commands respect across Africa and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand before you today, I do so with profound respect for every individual who has occupied the office of President of Gambian Football Federation. Leadership is never exercised in easy circumstances, and every administration has contributed in one way or the other to building the institution that we have today. Our responsibility is therefore not to erase history, but to build upon it. The Chronicle of Leadership teaches us one unmistakable truth. Institutions endure when leadership places governance above personalities, accountability above convenience, and long-term national interest above short-term popularity. Football succeeds when systems become stronger than individuals. It is in this conviction that has inspired my decision to seek your mandate as the next president of the Gambian Football Federation. My ambition is not founded on personal aspiration alone. It is rooted in years of service to Gambian football. As a former player, founder and president of Falcons Football Club, executive committee member of the GFF, chairman of the procurement committee, CAF safety and security officer, and above all, as someone who has witnessed football from the grassroots to the highest levels of international administration. These experiences have taught me that sustainable success is achieved through visionary leadership, institutional discipline, and a collective ownership. I'm not presenting myself as a candidate to begin a new chapter for discarding the past. I seek your trust to continue the journey that previous leaders began while addressing the emerging challenges of modern football. We must preserve the governance reforms that have restored our credibility, strengthen financial sustainability, modernize football administration, expand infrastructure to every region, invest in youth and women's football, commercialize our competitions, improve player welfare, and enhance innovation that positions Gambian football among Africa's leading football nations. This is why the manifesto that we launched today is built upon continuity, innovation, and transformation. It acknowledges the sacrifices of those who came before us while presenting practical strategies to take Gambian football to its next stage of development. Every pillar within this manifesto reflects lessons drawn from our own history and responds to the realities of the future. Today, I also profoundly unveil a team composed of experienced administrators, accomplished professionals, respected football stakeholders, and dedicated individuals who share one common purpose, that is to serve Gambian football with integrity, competence, and accountability. This team does not represent one region, one club, or one interest group. It represents the collective aspirations of our football family and our determination to build an inclusive federation that belongs to every Gambian. Thank you. Our campaign is therefore not about personalities of division. It is about preserving the institutional gains of the past while unlocking new opportunities for the future. Yeah. It is about ensuring that Football House remains a respected institution governed by transparency, professionalism, and excellence. As delegates prepare to make one of the most important decisions in the history of our federation, I respectfully urge you to consider not only promises, but also vision, not only ambition, but also experience, not only change, but purposeful continuity. The next president of the Gambia Football Federation must understand our history, appreciate our present achievements, and possess the leadership to navigate the future. The chronicle of leadership has shown us what works, what fails, and what must never be repeated. It has become our institutional compass. I offer myself to lead with those lessons firmly in mind. Together, let us protect the legacy we inherited. Together, let us write the next chapter in the remarkable story of Gambian football. May God bless the Gambian Football Federation. May God bless Gambian football. May God bless the Republic of the Gambia. Thank you very much. Continuous process. And that is why we believe that there should be that continuity, but of course, taking ownership of what we also want to achieve by leaving our own positive legacy. So it is based on that foundation that this manifesto that I will be unveiling was done. And most importantly also, the manifesto is not just a mere academic document that we have prepared. In fact, one of the reasons why it took a bit of time for it to come out is to ensure that which comes out here is something that we want to hold ourselves responsible and to ensure that it is delivered at the end of our mandate. So in doing that, most of the things, or let me put it this way, our ambition is anything on this manifesto, we want it to be implemented within the first term of our coming into office. The vision is that we want the Gambia to be West Africa's model football nation through elite development, professional excellence, and inclusive growth. That is where we want to take our football. And our mission is to transform Gambian football through professional governance, sustainable investment, and inclusive pathways that create opportunities from grassroots to global stage. So basically, this is a manifesto that has much to do with transformation of our football. If you look at our history, like I stated in the Chronicle of Command, leadership at the GFF, he has stabilized our football. Team Kaba has really stabilized our football. And they have laid the foundation for succeeding leaderships to take our football forward. And that was unlike what they found on the ground. We are somehow lucky to come and find a very stable in our system. So we should not be found wanting for not delivering on what we promised to the Gambian people. So we have crafted 7 strategic pillars that we believe should be able to bring 360 degrees development to our football. And in pillar 1, we look at governance, integrity, and strategic partnership. You can recall that the past history of some of the leadership at GFF, they were found short of governance, integrity matters. And that contributed towards the challenges that they encountered. And in some of them, it resulted to the disbanding of their executives and the intervention of normalizations. So, and that is why my team deems governance, integrity, and strategic partnership very, very important to the achievement of football development. And in that, our strategic priorities will focus on governance, transparency, and institutional integrity. President Bajo recounted that for the past 12 years, they have never fallen short of holding annual general meetings. And for the past 12 years, they have been sharing the audited accounts of the Federation and gotten approvals of their budget from the General Assembly. These are very good governance matters that we also promise to uphold and improve on. In fact, me and my team also challenge ourselves to continue publishing the audited accounts of the Federation, at least for transparency purposes. We will also establish an independent ethics committee and a compliance committee. These are constitutional requirements, and they are things that we want to ensure that they are effected. To improve on governance also, we will ensure the digitalization of football administration. It has commenced, but it has not been fully rolled out. And we want to ensure that it's done, particularly the incorporation of our regional football associations. We will also introduce some structural reforms, particularly having a monitoring and evaluation unit at Football House. Why we think this is very important is that anything that we set ourselves for and promise you, there must be a measure to monitor and evaluate how far we are going towards that achievement. Unless we have a unit dedicated to do that, we will not be able to really evaluate and visualize how far we are going, how are we deviating, and what is causing the deviation, and how can we address those things to better the implementation of the promises that we made to the Gambian people. The other strategic priority is partnership with government and institutional harmony. President Bajo clearly stated that he has gotten a very cordial relationship with the government of the Gambia. Even though at the boardroom where we all serve, some of us feel that he has been somehow very, lame and not putting up, the concerns of the executive to the government. And the claims is that, it is national team. And when anything that has to do with national team is the primary responsibility of government. Yes, we all know that. But I also believe that the experience that President Bajo garnered during his service with government informed him better that there are really competing interests as far as the national cake is concerned. So there must always be a compromise between Football House and government. But we must not also forget that if we critically study the involvement of government in Football House activities, the new dispensation record will definitely not be compared to what has passed before. The records are there to prove that. But there's another gauge that you can use to confirm that. If you look at the performance of Gambian football at national level, we have never succeeded much compared to the past decade that we did. And that simple question, and that is a clear indication that it is through the support of government, even though some might say it is up to 40% or thereabout, but the 40% has projected us and catapulted us to be a country that is recognized in Africa. What I want to do is to build on that foundation that he has already built, and to see how we can improve on government's involvement in Football House activities. In fact, I don't want to only limit it to the national team. I want to explore the coordination, especially in development agenda activities. Football infrastructure, I mean. Because primarily that is also the responsibility of government to support in infrastructural development, particularly the football fields and training grounds for our people. if we can leverage on our relationship with government and to synchronize our activities, I believe that we can achieve more, because it is in the best interest of government, because all that we are involved in does with youths, and the youths are the cream and the future of the country, and the government places them highly, in their activities, and that is why I took all my time to ensure that I have the Honorable Minister of Trade and Employment here. Because what we do, or what we are going to do at Football House, has a lot to do with what his ministry does. So this job has already begun in creating that close relationship with government, so that we will achieve what we want as a football country. So this is why this strategic government partnership and institutional harmony is very, very important in this manifesto. We also want to create the international relations, football diplomacy, and global partnership structure within Football House. Football has become a sport that needs a lot of networking. You cannot only rely on government or your primary stakeholders to move your football. The international community needs to be engaged, and through that diplomacy, we'll be able to source some of the funding that is needed for the development of our football. And therefore, it is important for us to have a dedicated unit within the federation whose business will be to ensure that we progress so much on this. Why this difference could not be realized much under his leadership, because the fact that he has served as a diplomat for many years, he has leveraged on that opportunity and brought a lot of things into our football through his diplomatic expertise. But I am a different person. I don't have his diplomatic acumen. So to cover that gap, we need to create a dedicated unit so that we can continue on that trajectory. We also prioritize referees' excellence, safety, security, and integrity. Refereeing is one of the most important areas of football development. The threat to match manipulation has become a key issue in modern football. It has shattered some countries in Europe. Lately, we also what happened in Turkey. And those who follow Italian football also, the Berlusconi story and others, will know how football can be manipulated, especially with the involvement of referees. But with better education and preparation, we can reduce the risk of referees being manipulated and risking of football into disrepute. But also, the safety, security, and the integrity of our game, which is my specialty, is something that we also want to institutionalize. Already, CAF has already rolled out its safety and security regulations, and at the national level, we've already gotten our policy. So it's a matter of churning out and localizing our own regulations to match the CAF regulations, and to ensure that those principles are also rolled out to our stakeholders, particularly the RFAs. This is to ensure that our football is played in a safe and secure manner, so that at the end of the day, the services that are delivered, the ambience that we want in our game, we can have it and we enjoy our game peacefully. let's take a look at pillar number 2. The second pillar looks at football infrastructure. It also looks at commercialization and sustainable finance. I always want to draw a reference from where we are coming from, so that we will understand why we are bringing certain things here. When Team Kaba was coming in 2014, one of the promises that was made to the stakeholders was